Hi, everybody. Welcome to Money Mondays. We're going to get started. I got on a few minutes early because I wanted to check some things, make sure everything was in good order. I have my notes here, so we're going to go over some great content tonight. I'm really excited about this topic because I feel like it's affecting so many people. I'm going to give you some stats. I'm going to give you a walkthrough of how you can stop living paycheck to paycheck in the next 30 days. Okay. I'm just excited to be here. I hope you guys are having an amazing Monday. In this Monday in Black History Month, we have a couple more left. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hey, Adelie Photo, welcome. Hey, Squeaky, thanks for joining. We're just waiting for a few more people to get on. I'm going to make sure my Facebook stream is working. Hey, Candy, welcome. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Let me make sure you guys can hear me. Give me a second. Let me turn my volume up. Just making sure that everything is good. So, yeah, there's not a lot to report. Hey, Ada Lee, thank you for being here. I'm glad you're here. I'm excited too. When I okay, so when I do Money Mondays, I think about what we shared and what we talked about the last week, and then I think about what I want to talk about this week. And so if you've been paying attention and you've been coming every week, then you know we've been talking about some great things. So like a couple weeks ago, we talked about upskilling. Last week we talked about billionaires Rihanna and 10/11 things, lessons we can learn from her, money lessons. And so tonight we're going to talk about living paycheck to paycheck and what that means and what that looks like and how to stop in the next 30 days. I don't know about you all, but this is something that's really been big in the Black community. It was something that was big in my family, and it's just something that I really feel like we can fix if we want to, right? So we're gonna wait for a couple more people to get in. I usually like to start right at 9. I think we have a few more seconds, and then we will hop right in. I'm gonna just review my notes, make sure I don't miss anything. Yes. So we'll give everybody a few more minutes. Well, a few more seconds because it's almost 9 o'clock. And I have my tea here just in case my voice gets a little hoarse. Okay, it's 9 o'clock. Let's get in. So tonight's topic is living paycheck to paycheck, and how to stop living paycheck to paycheck in the next 30 days. So before I really get into some concrete things that you can do in the next 30 days to help you stop living paycheck to paycheck, I want to make sure that we're all on the same page and that what I'm talking about when I say living paycheck to paycheck is what you're interpreting and what you know it to mean, okay? So living paycheck to paycheck is just essentially having more month than money. It means that once your paycheck is gone, you have maybe 4 or 5 days until the next paycheck. They also call it working poor, meaning you work a job, right? But you just don't make enough money to make those ends meet. Hey, dear manager, welcome to Money Mondays. And so that's what we're talking about when we talk about living in a paycheck to paycheck. Now, there seems to be this idea that living paycheck to paycheck is only something that happens with people who are maybe lower skilled or who don't make as much money. And I want to tell you right now that it is not a salary, right? It's not anybody who makes under $30,000 or $50,000 a year. It's not that. It's not a profession, right? It's none of that. If you're a doctor and you have to charge gas to put in your car before you can go to work, you're living paycheck to paycheck. If you're working at McDonald's and you're borrowing money from family and it's 5 days, 6 days away from the next time you get paid and you don't have money, you're living paycheck to paycheck. And I think the pandemic humbled a lot of people, because what we found was people who were making a lot of money, including a lot of corporations, were essentially living paycheck to paycheck, right? They missed a couple paychecks and then everything was messed up. They were behind on bills. People couldn't pay their rent. They couldn't afford food, so on and so forth. So don't make the mistake of thinking that living paycheck to paycheck is just a certain income level, because you can be literally making 6 figures a year living in the United States or living wherever and living paycheck to paycheck where you just don't have the money. Okay. Now, CNBC did a study, and what they found was 63% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That's a high number, right? That's a very high number. But let me put it to you in terms of how many. That is 166 million people in the United States who are living paycheck to paycheck. 60% of people can't cover a $500 or $1,000 emergency, right? So something happens, they get a flat tire, they get in an accident, they can't even pay the deductible, the $1,000 or $500 deductible to get their car fixed because they just don't have the money. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about maybe a million or 2 million people. We're talking about more than half of working Americans, more than half of adult Americans in this country are living paycheck to paycheck or cannot afford a $500 or $1,000 emergency. That's a problem. Okay, that's the issue. Now, what are some reasons for living paycheck to paycheck? Inflation. We know things are going up. The cost of things are going up. One of the biggest shockers is eggs, but income is not necessarily going up. So you got inflation, failing to plan. So when you fail to plan, when you plan to fail, you fail to plan. Something like that. Basically, when you don't have a plan, you're gonna fail. Not having a budget. So I talk to a lot of people. They don't know what's coming in, what's going out, what's due, when, how much is due. They don't know. They don't have a clue, right? They're just basically winging it. That's a reason for living paycheck to paycheck. Impulse spending. If you do a lot of shopping, maybe you have a budget, but you do a lot of spending outside of your budget, just brainlessly, right? Maybe you're at the grocery store and you have your list, but you need this, you need this, you need this, you need this. That's impulse spending. That can put you in a paycheck to paycheck cycle. Being debt heavy, living beyond your means, that can put you in a paycheck to paycheck cycle, because if you're paying $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $1,000 a month to debt, that can have you living paycheck to paycheck. You won't stop buying trash. Again, impulse spending. So you're not managing your money in a way that's going to set you up for success and be most successful for you long term. Lack of education. You just don't know where to start. Now, if you've noticed, I've rattled off at least 7 or 8 reasons that you could be living paycheck to paycheck. And the very last reason is low skills or a lower income, right? So, of course, we know that there are people on this planet, on this country, on this continent, whatever, who, they don't make a livable wage. And I'm not necessarily talking about those people, although they can be in a paycheck to paycheck cycle. I'm talking about people who, for the reasons above that number, are living paycheck to paycheck. Okay. So you really have to reframe how you're living how you're looking at living paycheck to paycheck and determine if you fall into one of those categories. And if you are, I'm going to show you what to do. Now, I've given you the what, the why, I've given you statistics. Let's talk about how to stop it in 30 days. 30 days, yes, you can do this in 30 days, and I'm going to tell you why. The first thing that you need to do is you need to find your number. Okay, your number is not your phone number, it's not your social security number, but it's the number that it takes to run your household every month. Bare bones, bare minimum. Like if you only had a couple dollars, like how much would you need to have the bare necessities? You need to find that number. And you do that by doing a money inventory. With a money inventory, all you're doing is you're looking at the money that you have coming in, the money that you have going out. Very simple. You're looking at due dates, amounts that you owe, because you're trying to figure out how you can set yourself up for the next step. 2, how do you stop the paycheck to paycheck cycle in 30 days is you need a budget, right? You need a personal budget that's going to outline for you what needs to be paid and how much and when, okay? Because that's going to show you where you have holes in your boat, where you need to maybe plug your spending. That's going to give you a realistic view of what you're working with, what your financial landscape is looking like, where can you cut, all of that. So create your household or your personal budget. That's number 2. Now, I told you that this can be done in 30 days, and that is true, but we're really looking at about 45 days. So you have 15 days, about 2 weeks, to find your number, do your money inventory, and then come up with a usable budget that's going to work for you and your family. Now, The third way that you can stop living in a paycheck to paycheck cycle is using the 3x2 magic. Now, if you get paid bi-weekly, you know all too well about the 3x2. Basically, twice a year, you get paid 3 times in 1 month. Okay, 3x2 magic. So next month in March, you're going to get 3 paychecks. In September of this year, again, you're going to get 3 paychecks if you get paid bi-weekly. And so what you want to do is you really want to focus on using that extra paycheck to get ahead. Not buying Beyonce concert tickets, because Beyonce is not living paycheck to paycheck. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you don't need those concert tickets. Not, splurging the money or any of that, but focusing on being strategic and being intentional with that third paycheck of that month. Okay. Now let's say that you are maybe a photographer, like Ada Lee Photo, and you don't get paid bi-weekly. There are still some things that you can do to stop this cycle. The first thing that you want to do is sell what you can. I told you guys before, like, I sell clothes on Poshmark that I've bought at the thrift store. And I make pretty good side hustle money. I can make anywhere from a couple $100s a month to $1,000 a month in side hustle money. So you need to find something to sell, whether that's extra clothes, whether that's tools. Maybe you have a large wardrobe, like some people who will remain nameless, but you find something to sell that's going to help you generate that money. Find a side hustle. So what are some things that you can do right now to help you generate some fast cash so that you can go ahead and stop this cycle that you're living in where you have too much month and not enough money? Okay. Another thing that you can do is, that's number 9. So I'll tell you about that in a second. After you use your 3x2 magic, or you tap into your side hustle, or you figure out what you can sell, then you want to focus on 1,000. Okay. So here in the United States, $1,000 is like the bare minimum of an emergency savings fund that you need. Why? Because if you have an emergency, $1,000 emergency, and you cannot cover that $1,000, that's going to plunge you back into the paycheck to paycheck cycle. Once you get that $1,000 the $1,000 in your emergency savings account, then you can continue to build it week by week, month by month, paycheck by paycheck, or whatever, but you can continue to build on it. But you want to create that strong foundation for yourself so that if something happens, not if, but when something happens, because things always happen. When something happens, you can be prepared. Okay. So that's how you're going to really help stop that paycheck to paycheck cycle long term. Okay. After that, so after you've done your money inventory, after you've created your personal budget, after you've used the 3x2 magic, after you've funded your emergency fund, then you want to cut your expenses, right? Religiously. I mean, you want to slice and dice your expenses, slicing everything from your grocery bill to your utility usage to your gas usage, even going as far as to move if your rent or your mortgage is too high. Now that's long term. That may take a few months, a couple months, however long, but you want to start focusing on slashing your expenses, because the lower your expenses, the more freedom you have, the more breathing room you have. You can breathe, right? Because you don't have all of these expenses on the top of your head, bouncing on top of your head. Okay. After that, you want to develop your debt repayment strategy. So I've talked about this before. I had a webinar a few years ago, but basically in 2019, at the end of 2019, my husband and I started our debt repayment journey. We had no idea that the pandemic would hit, but it helped us in a major way. And from December 2019, or let's say 2019 until May of last year, which is the last time I actually ran the numbers and pulled all the information, we have paid over $145,000 worth of debt. Our lifestyle did not change until we started paying off that debt, like thousands of dollars, student loans, personal loans, credit cards, our cars at one point, just all of this stuff we were paying off like crazy. And our lifestyle didn't change until we paid that off. So that's another way that you can stop this paycheck to paycheck cycle, is by slashing your debt balances, right? And being intentional about not recharging those credit cards up, about keeping that debt balance low so that you can really do the things that you want to do and you can have the freedom that you want to have. And then 7 is upskill. So we talked about upskilling 2 weeks ago. You really want to be getting better, right? If you're not getting better, that means you're staying the same. And if you're staying the same, that means you're not growing. And if you're not growing, that means your income is probably not growing. So you want to focus on upskilling, whether that's in furthering your education through maybe college or a certification or a trade school or offering a new service to your business. But you want to focus on upskilling so that you can keep reinventing yourself and generating additional income. 8 is say no to yourself and others. There seems to be a trend, especially in the Black community, where when one person makes it, when one person gets a great job, then it's their responsibility to take care of the entire family. And I get it, right? I understand that want and that urge to do that. You don't want to be living well and your parents are not, or your siblings are not, or you can help them and you're not, right? I get it. But you need to learn how to say no, right? You need to make sure that the people who are coming to you, and not even the people that are coming to you, not exclusively them, but yourself as well, that you're saying no, that you're denying yourself. Even if you have the money, that doesn't mean go out and spend the money just because you have it, right? Once you get your emergency savings built up and maybe you have $1,500 in there, that doesn't mean blow that money on frivolous things. That means saying no to yourself and saying no to others so that you can permanently stop this cycle. And then 9 is we're in tax refund season. So using your tax refund, using your bonus, using, unexpected money is going to help you stop that cycle. So you can fund your emergency savings, you could pay off debt, you can become intentional with what you're doing with your money, you can move if you need to cut your expenses. So really using those tax refunds, especially if you get thousands of dollars, not going out getting a raggedy car for the 15th year in a row. We're not doing that this year, right? But being intentional and being strategic and being smart with that tax refund is going to help you break this cycle long term. And then 10 is starting now. It was just last week yesterday. And when I was a kid, adults used to tell me, oh, time is going to pass so fast. And I didn't get it then. Time passes so fast. You will literally look up and it will be 2 weeks from now. And you'll be like, what? Like, where did these 14 days go? And it's because time moves so fast. So if you are living in a paycheck to paycheck cycle, if you're not where you want to be financially, maybe, you have a little money saved up, but you're not doing as well as you want to, now is the time. Do not let another 6 months go by. Do not let another year go by. Let's not have this same conversation next year. Do it now, because the faster you do it, the faster you will see results. Okay? So those are some very tangible, concrete ways that you can really stop this paycheck to paycheck cycle. Once you stop the cycle, you'll notice a big difference in your quality of life, because you can do more things, you'll have more money, you'll have more freedom. If you have children, you can, give them money if they're going on a field trip or if they need new shoes. And any little issue or any little setback is not going to just rock your world for the next few months, because you will be prepared and you will be ready. Okay? I hope this video helped you all. If you know someone that is in the paycheck to paycheck cycle, or maybe they just want to get some additional tips of things they can do to improve and get stronger, feel free to share this video with them. It's always saved on my page. But I really want us to be focused on stopping the cycles, right? And we have to take action. If you don't take any action, nothing's going to happen. You're going to look up, it's going to be 2026. And you're going to be in the same position. I won't be there. I'm going to be in a different position, but you'll be in the same position that you were. So that's it. That's how you stop the paycheck to paycheck cycle in 30 days. Start now doing those things that I outlined for you, because they are going to make a huge difference in your financial landscape and your financial future going forward. I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you next Monday. Take care. Bye.